You saw her last night. She walks, she talks, she crawls on her belly like a reptile. Oh, there she is. Oh my goodness. So, oh my goodness.
Thank you.
You're all rested up since your performance last night?
I'm working on it.
Yeah. Well, me too. I was out a little late myself. It's fun to think about this special. This year we celebrate the 55th anniversary of the '68 comeback special. Now, this is not something that you were not familiar with, dancing. You started as a dancer. You started ballet, and tell me how you do ballet and you end up in Vegas as a showgirl, working in Vegas.
Oh yeah, well, I was doing a ballet show, and somebody saw me, and I was 16 years old. Somebody saw me and they said, "Would you like to be in a show in Las Vegas?" I go, yes, dancing. So they said, "But you have to be there no later than tomorrow because we're opening the show right after that." So I said, okay. And I take the bus and I arrive in the Flamingo Hotel looking for a ballet troupe. I go, "Where is the ballet troupe? I'm one of the ballerina." They looked at me and they said, "No ballet here, there's belly dancing."
It's Vegas after all. You know?
Yeah. So before I knew it, I was on stage and in a background, in a chorus, trying to see what other girls are doing, because I didn't know how to belly dance. So, but being trained in ballet, you can pretty much do anything, you know. So I was watching what they were doing and doing the capes and the veils and all that turning, and so they loved me. So they didn't fire me, because actually the bosses in Vegas, they fired other dancers. And I said, "Why? She was so good and I don't know what I'm doing." They said, "She didn't have what you have." I guess because
Oh, we saw that clip. We know all about what you got.
yeah.
So tell me, that life, so belly dancing enters in that way, and somehow you end up in Burbank in 1968, part of a legendary show and a legendary special. And even with your appearance as short as it is, you make such an impact. Still, all these years later, watching the clip, tell me how you got involved in the special. How did you get your part?
Well, I had an agent. I thought he was like 100 years old, but he wasn't. He was sweetheart. He was an old gentleman from New York, a Jewish man, and he would not explain to me what the auditions were. He would just go get the job. Well, who, what, why? Never mind, just go get the job. Okay, so I would, and just take your costume, take your music, and you're gonna audition. So I did. That's how I was able to get the role. But before that, I've done other shows, a lot of other, McHale's Navy, and I mean, I saw Man from Uncle, you know. So I did a lot of shows, not always belly dancing. But I loved belly dancing, I really did. I think it's such a great art, and it's good for you. It's good for you emotionally and physically. It's a great exercise, you know. So I love it. I do a lot of judging of the competitions of belly dancers, and I love them all. They're so beautiful, really.
It seems like what you were doing in the special would get a lot of attention, particularly from Elvis. What was your experience in, well, I mean, you know, she's right there, you know.
I know. When I used to watch him in the movies, and I thought, oh, he's cute, you know. That's all I thought, but I said, wow, he sings amazing, okay? His voice is, anyway, but when I was on the set, in the makeup room, I see this vision walking towards our area with this aura that I can't even explain, with a smile, a little crooked smile that he had, you know? And I go, oh my God, and I just froze. And he would walk in and introduce himself to everybody on the set. He would say, hi, I'm Elvis. And the guy says, I'm John, and the girl says, I'm Mary, and so on and so forth. And then he came up to me and he says, oh, Tanya, you must be Little Egypt, Tanya. I go, yes. And he says, I'm Elvis. And he gave me his hand, right? So all I could hear is blah, 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 blah. I didn't know what he was saying. And he says, blah, blah, blah. I go, yes. Blah, blah, blah. Yes. Blah, blah, blah. Yes. Tanya? Yes. He says, can I have my hand back? You know, that was my basically introduction to Elvis.
Yeah, that's...
Later on, of course, there were other issues going on. We were supposed to wear something in our bellies, right? Because of, I don't know, censorship. You have to cover your belly button. I don't know. It's okay. So I had like a little ruby. But every time I moved, the ruby would pop out. Okay? And poor Elvis had to sing, right? And he would have to stop singing. They had to glue the thing back on. And he would start and back and forth. Never, ever did he complain. I worked with a lot of other stars, even Bob Hope and so on and so forth. Lots of great people. And they were all prima donnas, you know. If anything like that happens, they would run in the dressing room. Call me when you're ready, you know. Okay, but not Elvis. He would crack jokes. He would just say funny things and laughed and never ever complained.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
That was Elvis.
Did you have the feeling from being around him, and it sounds like he was very loose and enjoying everyone, how much pressure there was? I mean, we know now how much pressure there was on him and how important this TV special was to where he was in his career and the next level of his career. Did you get any sense of tension from him like that? Or it sounds like not.
I did not,
Yeah.
to be honest. I did not. But because I never had a chance to, at that time, to talk to him very much.
Yeah.
The only thing I've noticed that he had a photographic memory. The first day he came, he introduced himself. He says, hi, I'm Elvis, and so on and so forth. The next day, he remembered people's first name, and there were a lot of people that he met,
Wow.
you know? He was amazing. He impressed me every time, you know?
Did you see him again later after the special?
Yes, I have. Almost 2 years later, he was at the International Hotel performing in a main room, and I was in a lounge, and there were other acts there. I was an opening act for them, and so one day somebody said, Elvis is in the audience. I go, oh, well, before I go on stage, So I go and I said, okay, I'll go say hi to him. So I go and he was so sweet, he got up and we talked and I said, oh, you came here to see Checkmates? Because they were the big attraction at that time. And he says, no, I came to see your show.
No pressure there.
So I had to sing, because the show I had to sing and dance and so on and so forth. And I was nervous, I'm going to sing in front of Elvis? Whew. I went and put the sexiest outfit I could. And, to my surprise, after I finished singing, he gave me a standing ovation. Yeah. I know. And, we had some conversation afterwards because we both worked in the same hotel. He was a very spiritual man. Also, he was picking my brain about acting. Because when we were talking, I said I was involved in the theater and so on and so forth. And he says, well, what do you do? How do you learn? What is the best advice you can give me? I said, well, the only thing I can say is if there's some actors who are talented and they're doing a great job, but then there's some fabulous actors who have a training. And I said, if you can possibly get involved in a theater group, you will learn a lot how to handle some dramatic roles, which he was interested in, And so we had a lot of great conversation like that.
Yeah. It seems like all these years later, your love of Elvis is still evident of how he was as a person, so incredibly clear to you. You've written a book. You've come out because and I've got a copy of this, and I've